So invite me then to call on Trevor Swart. He's my supplier of hardware machinery. In fact, he's the gentleman that when I looked around the pool of service providers for my first mining machine, he was the one that was well vetted, and he was the one that was the most authentic and with integrity. He walked me through my journey of starting to mine and building. So he took me from a blank page, knowing nothing, when I was asking all the dumb questions, and he walked with me patiently through the path of what does what. And we need that, and I think that we don't have enough people that can walk us through these. Same way that I believe you can walk people through the NFT projects. Trevor is my go-to person for the mining project. Trevor, please welcome to our Learn Crypto podcast, and just share with us briefly your journey, where you started, and how you ended up being a Bitcoin miner, a crypto miner, a hardware provider. Please welcome into the stream.
Well, thank you, Dezray, for having me. So my journey started last year in Feb. I've only been doing this for a couple of months, just over a year now. And where we actually started, I spoke to my brother on the phone, and he was like, look at the price of Bitcoin. You know, we're both technical people, and it was like, so what are we doing about this? Why are we like, you just see like Bitcoin at that stage was like 700K, and it was like, dude, it's like it's going. So we technical people back in 2018, I dabbed with some mining back then, but it was very complicated to the point where I just give up, because you're mining, but we don't have the tools developed to teach people or to show people this is your active result in what are you mining. Here is your result, and here's the rand value that you can allocate to that component. So long story short, I said to him, let's get into this, and we started buying equipment, setting up, started mining, and then we just took it from there. And we literally just ran through the whole of 2021 just mining, buying, selling, providing, teaching, learning ourselves how to do things better, more efficient way of doing it. And yeah, that in short is my little story.
Yeah. And you didn't go to school for this, of course?
No, because I'm a technical person. I've been doing IT for like 20 years. And this was like, okay, well, let's look at the basics. And it was like, it's that easy. Okay, well, let's do it. That was the whole thing. When you look from a technical mindset, it's like, okay, let's see what do we need to do in order to get it working, and then make sure it keeps on working. And that was our whole mindset.
And this is the beauty of decentralization, because when you decentralize information, people don't have to go and sit years at an institution learning a system. So for example, Bitcoin is like gold. It's scarce. It is also mined. It also requires resources like electricity. And then it requires the geologists, the people that know what they're doing. So for me, you are the geologist, you're also the bank, you're the person that puts the equipment together, and all happens on your computer. What a beautiful age of this. I mean, I can't even explain what a beautiful age we're sitting in. Now, tell us about the different types of mining and what mining you are doing.
Okay, so we've got a couple of things that we need to look at to understand the crypto in one of its facets. Okay, it's basically broken down to tokens and coins. Okay, tokens is proof of stake, where you use software nodes, software configurations, and to keep it uncomplicated. It's basically you buy tokens and then you set it up, and then they start making you money. Okay, crypto mining, from the mining perspective, is coins. So you can't mine tokens; you can earn them, and your coin is your mineable. Anything that's a coin, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all of those types of coins, Raven coin, those can be mined by miners. Okay, so there's two popular avenues from a hardware perspective that one can choose. You have your ASICs on the one side, okay, very expensive, very power consuming. So they're very limited to from a residential perspective. When somebody starts out, it's not the feasible way, even though they make more money. You will have maybe like 2 machines and then you're capped. You're going to spend about 250K on 2 machines, and then the hassle is they can only do that one function. It's like a one-hit wonder. Just to break down the description of those hardware devices. So they're not, in a nutshell, they're not very flexible, but they do make money. So if something happens to the coin, or there's a shift, or there's a market price adjustment for that specific coin, you're stuck with it. You can't flip to another one. You can't do it. Where on the GPU side of mining, which what I'm doing is the spares are significantly more available now compared to last year. Last year was a battle to get anything when we needed to get some. They use less power. So if you've got a point of failure, let's say your internet goes out or your power goes out, you've got 2 machines down, which is your entire farm, where on the ASIC side of things. But if you've got a GPU farm or GPU setup, then you can distribute those, and it's not difficult to run them off solar, even for 1 to 2 hours, because they don't consume the volume. So your uptime is way longer from a new miner's perspective. And believe me, the ASICs make a heck of a noise, which people don't like. Okay,
so the computer that you've built for me is GPUs. That's correct.
Yes. So the nice thing about that is if something goes wrong, spares are easily available. We can repair it, get it up and running. So I like to set up uncomplicated systems, because when you've got a simplistic approach, your problem most of the time is very simple to solve, because it's not overly complicated when you create and put together a mining rig. Keep it to the basics. Literally no fancy stuff. It just works, and that's the aim for all of our rigs that we supply our clients, and then the training that goes with that. Okay, and then from a profitability perspective, yes, the ASICs do a lot more. They earn a lot more money per watt versus GPUs, but as I said, they're one-hit wonders where you can't so much change to something else. If something, for example, Ethereum is going proof of stake 10-1 sometime this year. So all the ASIC miners that's mining Ethereum at the moment, they won't be able to mine Ethereum going after proof of stake. Then all of that hardware, and that's millions of machines, are now dead in the water.
Craig, you're also done some mining, is that correct?
So I've been exposed to mining through a blockchain dev that I work with, but he does validating. Not that it's my strong point. I usually don't touch anything that has to do with mining. But what I do know is we have a similar process, which is not necessarily mining, but rendering of NFT projects. In which we would use a cloud computer that we set up. And then if someone has, say, for instance, a 10,000 JPEG collection they want to drop, they then speak to us. We set up a cloud computer, then help them render a project file of the art pieces that would make the art pieces. So yeah, I get into a space that's similar to mining, but it's not necessarily mining. It's rather rendering.
Can I just jump in there with regards to you rendering? You almost like you providing an additional service, and this is from a rendering perspective. This is also where crypto miners, let's call it the afterlife of crypto mining, is I found a way that we can set up my exact same setup into a node/server environment where I can then rent out my render hash to people via the Amazon cloud services. That can actually download their artwork or the video, whatever, onto my equipment from a remote location, and then they can use my hardware to process everything, and then they get the final image and the result back to them. So that's also something that's significantly more technical setup, but that's also an additional thing that we can do with the same crypto mining equipment.
Yeah, and also I think the other thing to mention, like from a business standpoint, it's very lucrative. I mean, getting 10,000 NFTs to render, if I'm charging per NFT at a specific rate and I'm able to break even in terms of my hardware costs, I can make a good significant amount of money without even, uh, dealing with any cryptocurrency, maybe receiving a cryptocurrency in some cases. But like, when with NFT collections, remember we're talking volume. So what a lot of people look for is volume as well. And I mean, we're looking large numbers here. So sometimes people come to you and they need 10K JPEGs, for instance, and maybe those JPEGs are 3D. In order for them to render 10K JPEGs on a standard machine would be a mission. So that's the case where you'd be then looking out for someone who would help you render. In the case of 3D artists, what 3D artists would rather do is just rather create the whole collection. But many a times, what people do is they go and use a cloud computer. So if you have a rig somewhere at home, and you willing to give off your environment so someone can use it to render their own projects, that's also another way to make an income. Definitely, Trevor's right. Like I would need some rigs every now and again, all the time actually, if I think about it.
Hey, we need to talk, Dan. We need to talk.
Yeah, for sure. But like, what usually happens at my end is sometimes we're either using cloud or I'm communicating with a friend and I'm linking to their computer via Parsec or something, and it's like, okay, let me render on your PC today, or tomorrow he renders on mine. That's really what's happening. But in terms of mining, no, I've been looking into altcoins, alternative coins, so not necessarily Bitcoin. So more rather Ethereum, more rather Cardano, things on the Stellar blockchain as well. And yeah, it's just, I think the other technology that I'm having an interest in is the Cosmos Atom.
Yes.
But yeah, it's mining is not my strong point. I have someone that does specifically that, and it's not necessarily mining. It's validating. It does, given its output.
Yeah, that's a good example of proof of work. Proof of stake. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So tell us the difference between proof of work and proof of stake, please, Trevor.
Oof, now I have to Google it. Proof of work, when we actually do the work and we get paid for. Okay.
Right.
Proof of stake is when out of all of the different validators, and this is now a very rough explanation. So when you do proof of stake, you'll have different nodes set up, okay, and then the community as a whole, this is how I understand it, would nominate one node being the node that processed that transaction or that blockchain block at that specific point in time, and then they get rewarded the costing of
Yeah.
explanation.
So what we are doing is proof of work when we are mining through the GPUs.
Yes.
Okay, that's beautiful to know.
And then
yes. And we get compensated. So you get a daily hash rate through the mining for producing proof of work.
Yeah, I've got two examples that I'm going to quickly bring up from just how much money. We were talking about this briefly when you went offline. So I've got one of these little 3060 Ti cards. This is only one. This makes about $20 a day after power, and that's based on a very expensive power ratio. And then I found one Ethereum miner, which you have to burn. Let me see how much power. So this thing consumes about R8 a day worth of power. Okay, one of these. And this is just one of the examples of the ant miner, the L7s. Okay, they produce 508 Rand a day, but they also burn $240 a day worth of power. And they're very noisy. So the costing and the biggest hassle that I found when I started researching the hardware specific, what should we be looking at from a profitability perspective and longevity is it's very difficult to get a quality ASIC hardware because of the sketchiness of where they are coming from. That's the biggest hassle, because we would get reputable South African dealers, but the problem that we've got is those dealers will have almost like it's very expensive to get it from them. If I buy it overseas, I don't feel happy spending $7,000 on a product that I don't know if I'm going to be getting it. If I have to import it directly, that's a big risk for somebody starting out. So, and I advise this to all of my clients. I normally say, we've got a great community. Other people doing this types of work, and when you find somebody reputable that you can supply, help you fix, warranties is in place, all of those things are in place, and then give and have I always create a backup plan for my clients if they want to start mining now. Like we're at the bottom of the market at the moment, we've got a couple of guys that are switching off their machines because their power is just too expensive where they stay. They don't have, because they are still making money, but they would rather switch it off, leave it idle, or leave it switched off for 30 days, especially because of the merge happening soon. People are almost holding their breaths at this point. Because I do believe lots of things are going to be changing, but as we said also, I think it's going to be chaos for about 2 days in the mining industry from a GPU miner's perspective. And the nice thing is the equipment that we've got is also, it does very well from a gaming perspective for sale after we mine. And people want to start selling.
So people can go intermittently between crypto mining and gaming mining. Are we saying that?
So rendering on the 3D art, you could work with 3D artists for rendering. It's
slightly different. The Amazon cloud servers, the S3 servers are slightly different, where we actually get a project downloaded to a let's call it the server machine that's on the network of all the machines that do the processing, and then that interfaces with all of the GPUs. Basically, you create a large cluster, and then from there on, this is how I understand it, that you can then use that hash and that power to process all of your work, and then it gets re-uploaded to the guy or the client that requested the upload. The job.
I just wanted to mention this one thing, that there's quite a number of startups that have been coming up. So if you've got if you have rigs, you can start up a rendering service, literally, and get different 3D software. So Unreal Engine, get Blender, get Cinema 4D, and these 3D softwares allow you to script inside the software to enable another computer to interact, or someone else to interact with the software. So you can give off your machine as a node, and perhaps rent out your resources to work with a specific program. I wouldn't want to get to the details too much, but there's an opportunity to create your own server and then offer the server to a lot of 3D artists that want to render NFT projects, because I see those also coming a lot in the future. Reason being, the the thing with non-fungible tokens in the blockchain space is that they enable you to prove digital ownership of an item. Now, that alone means that you can prove ownership of tangible items as well, I believe, and I think that's the route that we'll be taking in the future. I was just reading I was reading some tweets earlier on, and I saw a tweet that uh, Gucci Gucci now accepts ape coins, and there's some other NFTs that give you access to sneakers, etc. But I'm seeing a lot of that happening because people want to verify that they're a owner of something. And also, I see the use of non-fungible tokens in terms of verifying authenticity of items.
Right.
So, for instance, think about uh, fake clothing items. Maybe you had a chip inside a clothing item that someone can be able to scan, and they'd be able to tell whether that clothing item is fake or not by virtue of them sharing a relationship in a smart contract. I mean, those are things that can be done, and I think right now with the Web3 space, everyone is still in like a gray area, and we're starting to figure out these things. But there are funds that are being given out there by blockchain companies. The Interchain Foundation has funds for innovation. You have the World Wide Web Consortium that has also a fund for startups like that of that nature, of which you could go. I'll share the links, but you can go and like check out whether they're offering funding and apply for funding, because three things, most important things that I'm realizing right now with blockchain is, one, the efficiency, it's the scalability as well. I mean, if the blockchain technology companies want to scale, then obviously also from a financial standpoint, they're going to have to give people, specifically developers, the opportunity to build on their platforms.
Right.
And the thing is, you're having so many blockchain tech companies or technologies themselves that are coming up, that are even competing with each other. I mean, think about um, Polkadot and Cosmos Hub. They do the same thing, but they're in competition. You think about Solana and Cardano. Those are two frameworks. You think about them, they both work on a proof of stake model, but they're in competition. And again, it's like I think we should start thinking now as a people that why should we rely on other blockchain technologies? How about we build our own? And that's really where I think everyone's mindset should be going, in terms of creating apps, creating the technology that helps the technology survive, in a sense, because that's also very, very, very lucrative.
Yes. So this is an ongoing series. There's so much. There's so many facets to the blockchain technology, and I'd love for us to actually draw out a sketch of all the opportunities that one can go into. So it's not just trading Bitcoin. It's not just trading the altcoins. It's not just mining. It's not just working with NFTs. There's a myriad of avenues that one can be attracted to it and enter. So I'd like us to actually just draw up the freeway that people can actually participate in. Gaming is one of them, especially for youngsters. I mean, mining, trading, buying, selling. So there's so many things. And I'd like us, as we are a Learn Crypto platform, to continue just to educate the masses. I haven't found a platform on Google or YouTube that encompasses all of these learnings. There's a lot of information on YouTube, by the way, useful information, and there's also a lot of garbage. So how do we just put together a beautiful platform where people can get it? So it's a one-stop supermarket for cryptocurrency, Trevor and Craig. So this is where we're going with Learn Crypto. Just put it just eliminates the types of frustrations that I had, where I had to go for 4 years being in the gray area, where I did not begin doing anything, because everything was coming at me at the same time, and I did not know which direction to take or which road to go before I actually started. And it wasted a lot of time where I could have actually begun investing. And not to mention, of course, that there are hackers and they're ahead of us. They are professionals, they are smart, they know what they're doing, and they are succeeding in hacking people. So in our next series, we're going to be talking about cybercrime, how to protect yourself, even in mining. There's a lot of people. I mean, I also would love to know what has happened with all of the rigs that were in China. What happened to all those rigs? Have they infiltrated the South African market? Are they gone to America? There's a lot of questions in my mind. And I thank you both for joining me on this series. But it's going to be an ongoing process where we also want to invite other people that are playing in the space and open the platform as widely as we possibly can. And I thank you for this time that we spent this morning. And we're looking forward to our next series. And let's keep educating the masses, and let's keep our respective businesses growing. And let's also see where we can collaborate as the crypto curious.
Thank you.
So closing statement from your side, Trevor, followed by Craig.
Well, now is a very good and a bad time to do crypto mining. It's very good. The equipment is very inexpensive. So it's good to get in. I just got a client last week that bought a entry-level machine, and he's starting to crypto. Because it's a long-term game where your investment's going to pay himself off in 2 to 3 years, and then you sit with that asset and you've recuperated all of your money. Okay, and you can, if you've got it set up correctly, this can be one component that you can use during the retirement phase of your life, or when you're building up to that stage, to actually provide additional income.
Beautiful. Thank you, Craig.
All right. Awesome. I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you very much, Trevor. Thank you very much, Dezray. Thank you, Learn Crypto. We really appreciate having the opportunity to speak about these things. But also in closing, what I can say is it's a very, very interesting time to be alive. And in as much as the markets are looking hectic for everyone, let us not forget to innovate. So if you're out there and you want to learn how to build on the blockchain, learn 2 things: learn your Solidity, learn your Rust. Those are programming languages if you're capable of doing that. But if you're not, also don't be discouraged, because there's literally a space for everyone in the Web3 community. I mean, you may not be technical, but I'll give an example. In the NFT space, there are people who are community managers that manage communities, and that's also very lucrative. But let's innovate. Let's explore different use cases of blockchain. Let's actually see how we could use blockchain technology in our lives and businesses, because I see a lot of advantages coming with that in the future. And that's pretty much it. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
With the series, we are looking at, while we're working with Crypto University as well as Yellow Card, we're looking at educating the masses, enticing as many people as possible to enter the space, to enter the cyberspace. It is where the world is going, and Learn Crypto is a platform that invites everyone to understand all the intricacies that are related to cryptocurrencies. What is crypto? Why cryptocurrency? The technology that is blockchain, the types of cryptocurrencies, what everybody else thinks about cryptocurrencies, and where you can start or begin your journey with Learn Crypto.